Thanks for joining us for the Member xCite presentation. The Member xCite presentation is informative, interesting to the audience, and showcases the strengths of the presenter as an entrepreneur and their area of expertise. It's not a sales pitch, it's a 10-minute educational and insightful exploration into what they do. And of course, it's exciting.
During this xCite, Beth will run through 5 elements that form you into the emotional, intelligent leader you can be. When you master these 5 elements, you create a more productive and safer team environment, enabling everyone to be at their full potential. So for those who don't know Beth is a stress recovery specialist. She facilitates clients to move away from stressed, toxic, or overwhelmed environments towards productivity, conflict resolution, emotional intelligence, and alignment with what is important to them. She combines her lived experience of domestic violence at home while running 2 businesses, 3 kids, and working nights as a medical scientist, together with biomedical science and physiology, coaching methodologies, the SD protocol, DISC, metadynamics, development, and positive psychology to increase emotional intelligence, productivity, and stress management strategies. All right, well, we will hand over to you. Take it away.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Sashua. Fantastic to be here today. And so I'd like to start. Who here has heard of the word emotional intelligence? Yeah. So it's a bit of a buzzword at the moment, and it's something that is very much we hear about, but do we really know about it? And it involves so many different parts to it. And so today I'm just going to take you through 5 of the key areas that contribute to our emotional intelligence and how to actually bring these into the workplace to be able to enable that we can be those leaders, and it will also cross over into areas of all our life. So often I get comments from people about, oh, your clients just trust you so much and they just open up and they love spending time with you. And one of the answers I ended up giving someone when they asked, like, why? I don't know why they trust you so much. And it's like, well, it's because I know this stuff. And it's because this is my own journey and I live what I preach. So number 1, so I have, I've got here, I'm just going to use it on the board today. My acronym is SAFER. So number 1 is self-management. Now, this is one of the biggest areas that is really, really important to understand. And self-management has lots of different areas that actually contribute to it. If we can't manage ourselves, manage our state, we're going to have trouble connecting with other people and being able to be that leader in the most resourceful way, in that way that's going to inspire other people and help others trust us and believe what we're saying so we can be that leader. And so one of the biggest parts in self-management, and this is the journey I always take my clients on, is emotional intimacy. And so we need to first understand what's going on with us before we can then keep moving. Because when it comes to our brain, if we're having an emotional experience, and the thing is, our emotions are human. We are all human. And so often I work with people who think, emotions are just unnecessary. And it's like, okay, yeah, cool. Maybe they're unnecessary. However, they are part of the reality of being human. And so we need to understand the emotional experiences that we have. Because if we didn't have emotions, it's just an energy transfer. The word emotion comes from the Latin word emotare, which actually means energy in motion. And so ideally, we have experiences, and then we have the energetic transfer, which causes the emotion to occur. And then we're meant to let it go. It's just meant to pass through. However, what often happens is because we're taught boys shouldn't cry or girls shouldn't get angry, we don't allow ourselves to pass that emotion through. and our mind can trap it. And so it's like we've got these buckets within ourselves that are just filling up every single day. And it only takes, I do a lot of anger management sessions for some of the work I do with the police referrals. So I do work with people in domestic violence as well. And I work with the people who get really angry. And so we do anger management. And when it's important to understand, if we've got things happening every single day that we're not speaking up about, our anger bucket is just going to keep getting fuller and fuller and fuller. And unless we're actively, consciously doing the work to empty that bucket every single day, that bucket's going to be pretty full. And then it only takes one little thing to cause one drop into that bucket to cause it to overflow, and we explode. And so when we can understand this, when we're able to be aware of, oh, I've just been triggered, we can then allow ourselves the space. We learn the steps to be able to release the emotion, and that bucket gets empty. So we're not as reactive. We're able to respond rather than react. And the thing is, this, when our emotion center in our brain, because we have an emotion center, is firing, our complex reasoning cannot actually function. It's disconnected. And so we need to be able to first process those emotions, so then our complex reasoning can be in control of the firing in our brain. Because if there's too many emotions going on, and sometimes people call it a bit like the fogginess, or they're irrational, that's because their emotion center is firing away. And their complex reasoning, what makes you be able to communicate rationally, it's disconnected, it's not working. And so that's why this emotional intelligence is really, really important. And so I'll just write up here, self-management is the S. And it also comes in there. So with self-management, we've also got self-awareness and the emotional intimacy. So self-awareness first, for us to be able to move through and create change to transform our behavior, we need to first create awareness. If we're not aware of what our behavior is doing, we're not going to be able to know how to change it. So awareness, self-awareness is also key in that whole process of self-management. The second one, accountability. Okay, so accountability. This is something when it comes to building trust with people, when it comes to customer service in our teams, we need to be accountable for what we do and our actions. So if we do make a mistake with a customer, being able to actually own up to it, it builds so much more respect and rapport within that relationship. So being able to actually say, yeah, I made a mistake, whoops, sorry, and then we change it, we're going to be able to, by us showing up as being accountable, we're going to build that trust. We're going to be able to deliver better customer service. I know there was one thing in the lab that when I used to work there, I had made a pretty big mistake in my work. And the supervisor, some of the boys who I worked with came and they found it when the patient came back again. They saw the discrepancy in some results and they brought it to the supervisor's attention. And so the supervisor came and spoke to me about it, and straight up I was like, yeah, okay, I made a mistake. I was rushing that day. Yeah, I remember what was happening on that day. Things were a bit stressful because when we're also, and so during this period, I'm going through a lot of domestic violence at home as well. So my concentration level, my productivity is pretty low at this point in time. And because my emotion center is firing a lot. I'm going around and round in my head, things that are happening at home rather than having great concentration on my work. And so that's something that's really important when we are working with teams, being able to be aware and help them create awareness of, are you noticing, and this is one of my favorite questions, and I'd recommend writing it down, are you noticing that you're thinking about what's going on at home while you're at work? If you are, reach out and we can organise a session with the EAP. So EAP is the Employee Assistant Program. I worked in my workplace for 15 years. I didn't know what that was. And I was going through domestic violence. That shouldn't have happened. There should have been the support network there, one, by creating the awareness of what's actually going on with me and, hey, you're not on the job here. But also having leaders who can explain to our teams why we have this EAP. Businesses have an EAP so we can increase our bottom line in the business, so we can increase the productivity within our teams. That's why businesses actually invest so much in their EAP. But we need the leaders to let the teams know about it and let them understand without stigma attached why and how it can help. That, oh, you're not on the job and your mind's not on the job and your productivity is actually lower right now. So these guys can actually help with that. And so in that time when my supervisor came and brought it up with me about the mistake I made, I was accountable and I told her how I was going to fix it. These two guys who are part of the department that I was in, they then came up to me and said, oh, you're always the supervisor's pet. And they carried on about that. And I said, well, hold on. She came to me with the issue. I acknowledged it. I was able to tell her how I was going to fix it. And we moved on. There was nothing else she could, have a go at me about. Whereas, and I brought to their attention, when a supervisor brings a mistake to their attention, they deny it. They try to hide it and not, they don't want people to know their mistakes, which brings me to the next point, but I'll just answer Nikhil's question. Is there an EAP for small business owners? There could be individual, I don't know of particular ones for small business owners. However, you could always have an agreement with like a coach who can actually organise and have a set plan with you that's right for your small team. So there is that agreement in place that can work on these things with them. So I hope that answers your question. So the third one, F, this is feedback equals love. So when it comes to feedback, it takes more effort to give feedback than it is to sweep stuff under the carpet. And being able to make sure that is a belief and part of the culture of the workplace, it's going to help with the growth. It's going to help with innovation. It's going to help with improvement in the team and your business. So making this a really clear standard and expectation that, hey, we're okay to give feedback here in this workplace. We're okay to be able to look at our weaknesses and approach it with that love and improvement with that growth mindset is going to help your whole team to be able to be living that, be showing up in the best way they can in their workplace. And so then that brings me to E. And I just dropped my pen, sorry. E stands for extraordinary, encouragement, and validation. So I'm just going to put extraordinary there, but extraordinary encouragement and validation. So we need to have this belief that every single person in your team has potential. They are extraordinary and they have the potential within themselves to be able to be absolutely rocket out in whatever their position is. And so this helps out when this is a standard and expectation in behavior in your team, amongst your team. It's going to help your team to be connected to the possibilities. It's going to help them be connected to the purpose of why they're there in the first place. And it's going to help the team have that growth mindset. So innovation is possible. So people can ask questions and there can be open communication and exploration to be able to find a better way of doing things, whatever it may be, whether it be a procedure, whether it be even conflict resolution, all of that, having a growth mindset when it comes to conflict resolution and believing that feedback is love is going to help people grow from it and have that growth mindset. And it's only going to help your business grow even more. And so second bit of that extraordinary is also the encouragement. So we need to be encouraging our teams. We need to be bringing that acknowledgement about when we do have good things happen, when someone validating them when they do something amazing, and then being able to have acknowledgements, or whether it's work team member of the month or the week, having those times where people can be encouraged is going to help them show up and be more engaged in work. And then the last point is having that respectful culture. So let's put that up there. And so that comes very much to tying all of this together and the self-management. Are you responding or reacting? Are you being emotionally reactive and letting your emotions get the better of you and taking them out on your team? Or are you actually responding and being able to come from that place of love and respect and growth mindset to be able to lead and inspire and help each other be heard within your team? So I trust you've got some value from this little acronym today about being an emotionally intelligent leader. Thank you so much.